Major talking points in Nigeria are always on the lips of the citizens.
What's going on in this country? Look at the other countries taking lead, and you call yourself giant of Africa. Where?
For my business too much. They just too hard for us. I mean, I want to kill us. I don't kill us for Nigeria. Please, so help us back them.
They should reduce the expenditure so that they can free enough money for social development.
I wish for a Nigeria where we elect a leader based on competency and not popularity.
On the Diamond Breakfast Show, we place the spotlight on the critical issues in the country.
Government that says they are broke can prioritize construction of an additional runway over education of the people.
How can a government, how can you hold Indomine? This is intolerable. It's provocative.
Now, you see, when you look at our democratic journey, we are yet to practice the new democratic system in Nigeria.
Join us on Mondays to Friday on the DDS from 9 to 10 a.m. The Diamond Breakfast Show, amplifying the voice of the people. From the studios of Diamond 88.7 FM in Loring, this is the Diamond Breakfast Show.
All right, from politics and governance to economy and security, the Diamond Breakfast Show break down top stories and suggest practical solution. You're welcome, Nigerians. Welcome, Quarians, to the Diamond Breakfast Show. We will be live until 10 a.m. and I am your host, Omonike. Babatunde, I'll be your guide for the next 1 hour. You're welcome. All right, so what will be our focus for today? We're zeroing in on the gap between policy announcement and lived reality. While the Senate pats itself on the back, many Nigerians are holding their breath, seeing a familiar man in a black hood, dagger in the hand, ready to replay the 20th conversation this morning is Mr. Ayo Abegunde, a public affairs analyst. You're welcome. So it's a pleasure to have you join me this morning. Up to the existing provision of Electoral Act 2022, which state that the presiding officer shall transfer the result, including the total number of accredited and the result of the ballot in a manner as prescribed by the commission. Well, this is a continued conversation from yesterday. I do query on the conversation that was had yesterday. This is a continuation. But then the rejection followed. That's to say that trouble started when Senate Chief Whip, Senator Takira Mongono of the APC, raised the point of order that the Senate should revoke its earlier decision on clause 60, subsection 3 of the Electoral Act Amendment Bill. And the Senate has amended the Electoral Bill, modifying the clause 60 to require the presiding officer at each polling unit to electronically transmit, again, I'm reiterating, electronically transmit election result to the INEC result viewing, that's IREF portal. However, it added a clause that if electronic transmission fail due to communication or network issue, the manual result sheet, that's the form EC8A, will become the primary source for result collation. And this is where the issue started, because several persons have opposing opinion regarding this. But then let me take us back to, but regarding this, just as we know, the Senate's position on the transmission of election contracts that of the House of Representatives. So in essence, 12-man committee has been set up, to converse and have conversation around it with the House of Assembly. But then if we could remember, by September 2025, the Senate and the House, they opted to retain the positive aspect of the existing law of 2022-2025, but public hearing was being held in November 2025. The House of Representatives passed its amendment bill, Electoral Act 2022, awaiting the process to be seen through at the Senate. And now we're seeing it through gradually now in 2026. Well, let me cut the long story short, because I have several things to, keep you up to date with on this particular matter. And the problem in this particular phrase is real time. Well, you're welcome, Mr. very good day. Now, let's have this conversation. Now, what is your opinion on this? This has been causing several chaos, several conversation, and even Atiku has he has an opinion on it. I'm trying to get to the video, but very soon we get to listen to the audio. But let me just get your overview of this first of all before we talk about whether it's going to strengthen or weaken the credibility of the coming election.
Well, thank you, Omonike. When I got the invitation to attend this program,
yes,
what I tried to ruminate about was the same thing you just mentioned, the real time, because that's the crux of the matter. Well, last week Wednesday, we saw a drama pan out when the Senate rejected the e-transmission of election results.
Yes.
And there were some backlashes from citizenry. Some people, quite a number of people, felt that they had failed the nation and that the election results for the impending 2027 elections were already compromised from the onset. But looking at the issues, like I said, I try to look at it from the base of what exactly is real time.
Okay.
We have had public commentators come up with the fact that even in other climes, more developed climes in the US, Britain, and spanning the whole of Europe, there are no spontaneous or electronic transmission of results. There is a hybrid of both because they can vote ahead of time, and there is some people who have no privileges like that can vote physically. Well, we have not passed electronic voting into our laws.
Okay. Everybody
Everybody votes physically, and there's a time span for voting. We do the electronic accreditation. That is where it stops. After accreditation stops, everybody has to line up, pick your ballot papers, and vote and submit.
Yes.
There's a period, I guess, maybe at 2 p.m., election is closed. If you're on the queue before 2 p.m., you're allowed to vote up until that queue is exhausted. What happens thereafter? The agents are called, votes are counted. When you now say real time, I've tried to look at several meanings of real time from perspectives of the dictionary.
Okay.
One of the definitions I got is actual time during which something takes place. Election takes place over a span of time.
Okay.
So at what point do you transmit electronically? The point is that whether we like it or not, because our voting is basically manual, we have to wait until the last person has voted. We now call the agents of the political parties to come and witness real-time counting of voting.
Of voting, yeah.
And then after they have certified that election result, it is now sent, we suppose it, that we will send it online. That is no longer real-time. A lot of things might have happened during that period in like 6 hours that voting had taken place. It is at that point you now become vigilant so that ballot papers are not snatched, so that election result papers are not torn. So if you ask me, realistically, except we want to be, we should not be sentimental about issues.
Okay.
What we should be talking about is the credibility of the election based on the participants. That is why the law gives agents the role to accept or reject results at polling booths, polling units.
Yeah, right.
When people have voted, be vigilant. Make sure it's not compromised. When they have voted and you are counting, make sure counting is also not compromised. All parties must have agents. After you have certified that from EC, what do you call it, for EC 8A,
Yes.
then that is what you now transmit to the collation center. That is what you're expected to transmit to INEC IREV. At that point, it is no longer electronic transmission of voting. So we should not dissipate energies on unrealistic verbiage.
All right.
We should concentrate our energies on what we have control over. Sentiments should not becloud our sense of reasoning. So voting should take place. Agents should be on red alert, follow up their results with the collation centers.
Yes.
And as we begin to escalate up to the points of announcement, everybody should be on their toes. Then we can have a credible election result.
All right.
Already, there are red flags.
All right.
Say, in case there is a problem, because we already know that we have situational issues like power, failure of our devices. So why do we now have to use that as a caveat that will now fall back to from EC 8A again? So why don't we just concentrate on the manual collation and make sure we concentrate all our energies to the vigilance of that process?
But Mr. Babatunde, I'm going to chip in at this point in time now. For them to have given such an excuse, do you think now in 2026, that should not be an excuse, especially when it comes to network in areas? Because I think there was one of the senators that says in his village there's probably there's no network there. No, for a senator to have come up to say that, shouldn't that be a brush on mismanagement of fund and, not taking up their manifestos and keeping up to date with it?
Well, it's not in the hands of any individual to provide network in his village or constituency.
But they should push for it.
Well, I don't know whether they're pushing or they're not pushing, but the generic issues that we should discuss is the fact that, one, you see, when election cases get to tribunals,
yes,
the reason why a lot of people cry foul about the fact that they have been compromised, the results are not what they expected, is the fact that there's ambiguity in our laws.
Yes.
And lawyers want to take advantage of technicalities because the law says that you have to substantially push your case in terms of election issues, prove that there was compromise of election results. So when you begin to bring ambiguity from the beginning of the process by saying, if electronic transmission fails, you have to revert back to the same manual you are trying to reject. It means that we are giving room for ambiguity because anybody can just claim that in a polling unit in Akwa Ibom, election transmission failed because the device was faulty, because there was no power, because there was no network. So we leave room for a lot of. So I think what we, as statesmen, we should come together. People who love Nigeria and want a credible election process should just come together and say, look, let us agree on manual collation and announcement of result, but we have to play our role of eternal vigilance.
All right, eternal vigilance. Let's go on a very short timeout, and when we're back, we'll consider what the ex-vice president says. That's Atiku Abubakar. He said it's going to cause confusion, but then how true he says. We'll be back after this very short timeout. Do not go away. Still Diamond 88.7 from Ilori.
Diamond 88.7 FM.
Better be iron and care, be good for your body, yeah. Are you not aware? Body that body day for yeah. Your daily friend, for your blood, if it's 10 over 10. Oh yeah. Feel your pain, just to it on fasting testing. Love you that for everybody, healthy body for everybody. Therapy product of Beats in healthcare.
Madam Matron, now so you go, they look me as I carry this my RN certificate up and down without upgrading it like you, Abi.
Nurse Titi, I don't tell you, say Nurse Lara. They do distance learning for Thomas Adeomi University. She dey work. She go still dey go school online. Very soon, if I tell you, she go get her BSc nursing and leave you behind.
Alele, make her go register sharp. Tell all my friends too. This is a big opportunity for all my nursing friends.
Now so, for just 200,000 naira per session, you set fit get BSc nursing for Thomas Adeomi distance learning. For more inquiries, call the number 0803-357-8369 or call 090-231-30170 or visit our website at www.tau.edu.ng.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to our dear brothers and sisters in Islam. The much anticipated month of Ramadan is fast approaching. The month of reflection, forgiveness, tranquility, and abundant blessings. At Diamond 88.7 FM, Milori, we have designed affordable packages to celebrate with you and make this Ramadan a memorable and rewarding one. You can sponsor Ramadan Tafsir or support any
Diamond FM, your one-stop dial.
All right, you're still tuned in to the 88.7 from Ilorin, and I am Omonike Babatunde. I still have Mr. Ayo Abigude in the house with me, and we're talking about the transmission of the election result, talking about the electronic aspect of it, and then reverting to the manual aspect in case there is any issue at all on the day of the transmission. But then, Atiku Abubakar has something to say. Let's take a quick listen to him.
But what we got is a mixture of electronic and manual transmission, which is going to cause more confusion or chaos than if we have a single tier, electoral transmission system, which is real-time electronic. That would be our preference.
Okay, and, so he says that would be their preference. That is real-time. Still talking about the same real-time that is the issue right here. But again, it says it's going to cause confusion. I need to know your take on this. Do you think this will really cause confusion? Truly?
Yes, without sounding like a broken chord, I already said that. And the reason is this. You see, what we should be pushing at, I said if we are statesmen, and that's what Atiku has betrayed in his comments, he has betrayed the quality of a true statesman, which he is that you're neither here nor there. So people can decide to play on the intelligence of that hybrid allowance. What we should push in at is to make sure there are proper electoral reforms.
Okay.
Electoral reforms coupled with infrastructural upgrade. When we have achieved those twin issues, then we can begin to clamor on unhindered transmission of electoral results. Because you are now accepting that there could be problems. And then when problems arise, we go back to where we're coming from. Then you give room for people to play on the system. Lawyers are happy to bring out those technicalities. And nobody is in all the polling units. So we tell you they will call evidences from people who were on ground. The lawyer wasn't there, the candidates are not there. Then the agents who have been paid will say, look, there was a glitch. We saw what happened with JAMB result last year. It was a monumental national embarrassment. Election is more sensitive than JAMB results.
Yes.
We should not allow for such ambiguity to happen. It's either we succumb our sentiments to national interest and agree. Because I believe that the National Assembly pandered to sentiment, because a lot of backlash occurred last week Wednesday when they came up with the fact that they were not signed. But the thing is that we should pursue electoral reforms. Electoral reforms will help us garner, it's a value chain thing. Once we have electoral reforms that is profound, that is forward-looking, that allows for credible elections, all of these other things will be taken care of. But in the meantime, like I said, eternal vigilance.
Eternal vigilance. All right. But then if I'm going to go back to your words, he said, going back to where we were coming from, talking about the 2023 election, do you think there might be some certain, this will allow room for certain manipulation? And then, Nigerians already have distrust in the Senate and, some of the policies, in the implementation now of some of the policies that they put out. But then do you think there might be probably, let's say, a shake, or probably we're reverting back to what transpired in 2023?
Well, I don't know whether Senate took its position last week Wednesday. Yesterday, Tuesday, they came back and recanted on that. I don't know whether there will be a further backlash and they will have to go back, but I don't see that happening because it will be a slap on the face of the integrity of the National Assembly.
What do you think they're worried about the integrity?
Well, it gets to a point where there's honor among thieves. We look at it, we did say something last week, we are saying something again today, they want to say something else tomorrow. But at the end of the day, what I continue to clamor for is the fact that, I said it before, there is no way there's not going to be problem. In fact, we have already set the tone for some people to capitalize on during the forthcoming election. Some politicians already say, yes, we are going to make sure that those devices don't work. Because even with the accreditation, we had issues at election tribunals when we had to juxtapose accreditation with the final election results. And the law gives room, say, look, the ones that cannot be accredited electronically can be done manually. So far your name is on the electoral list, is on the voters list. So when you give room for options, you create room for confusion. So there's no doubt, and I think former Vice President Atiku understands that there's no doubt there will be confusion. So we have to look for a midway to address these issues, or else we're going to be having more problems post-election in 2027 than we had in 2023.
All right, let's take our reaction from our listeners. 091-3655-6952. 091-3655-6952 is the number to call to hear your opinion. And you can as well send a message to our WhatsApp number, 091-3655-6864. Hello, good morning. Good morning, you're welcome, Mr. Godwin. You're welcome, sir.
Yes, sir. What is needed now is transparency, fidelity, which is faithfulness, truth, otito. When these things are there, no problem. Nigeria government change to a new leaf. Let us move ahead, for God's sake. Let us change.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Godwin. Thank you. All right. Thank you so much. We will change, and we hope we will change. I hope we will. Here says, good morning, DBS Golden Voice, Omonike, our dear guest. As far as I'm concerned, there is no difference between what some Nigerians protest against and the amendment made yesterday. For instance, as the new amendment taking care of compulsory real-time transmission of election result, the electoral transfer approved here is still the same. RF and INEC discretion is still the approved manual collation, whether no network or where there are glitches. There's no difference between the 6.5 dozen. Elder Yemi Asaju, and here it says, good morning, presenter and the guest. We need to question the intelligent quotient of the poor masses who are dragging the government on the new tax law. Saying, okay, well, is this for me? And it says, talking about okay, all right. So thank you so much for your contribution. And here says, good morning, the host. And before I read that, okay, please do well to call back. 091-3655-6952 is the number to call. Here says, good morning, the host and the guest. To beat that tricky, controversial clause in the Senate amended real-time electronic transmission of results, Atiku, Peter Obi, other frontline politicians and stakeholders, including INEC, should just reach out and liaise with Elon Musk for support to the electoral process with the Starlink technology for a robust network coverage of all nooks and crannies of Nigeria. Also, to avoid electric power issue, INEC should take advantage and deploy solar power devices to conduct the election. Reach forward from GRA. Okay, what's the possibility of that? Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. You're welcome, sir.
Good morning to our guest in the house. This officer Muchi on the line.
You're welcome, sir.
You know, there's no need of dissipating energy on this electronic transmissions. You know, like your guest has said, it is when we finish, it is when the last person on the line vote. That's when we now start sorting and we now start counting. So it is after all these things that we now transmit the result. Or when I vote, we did transmit it immediately. So it's not possible. There's no need of that. What we need is our politicians. They should all resolve that we want these things to be good. If they all say, okay, there will be no vote buying, there will be no vote stuffing, all this will stop. They are the ones that are giving all these their boys money to go and disrupt elections, to go and do this.
Okay, this is based on assumption.
They want to win with all costs. And in election, there must be loser, there must be a winner.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your contribution. 09138656952. Here says, when two smart people are eating pounded yam with a egusi soup, they will end up finishing it with watery stew. Even someone like Peter Obi did not know what the protest was hard to achieve. What a sorry case, Elder Yemi Asaju. Still, hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. You're welcome, sir. You're welcome, sir.
Like my friends, I just think what has happened now is just like I will tell it to doesn't answer. In 2023, Tinubu lost the vote. Nobody will have put away. Yet, we said the election was not fair. The problem we have is that politicians will never accept this real time, like the analyst analyze it very well. it's difficult to achieve. Even in America, if tomorrow Americans believe Russia helped Trump to win his vote because they tampered with their system. If we are now only read time the transmission in Nigeria, we will see 1 million versions of results and will not be surprised. If you don't Nigeria that produced a copy, nobody should try that. We should accept the truth, and it should not be real time. Let it be well, built by party agents and everything well done for its process, and then where posting is not possible, let's rely on physical time. God bless you.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you for your contribution. And we've got this message here. It says, Money Eastern analyst, even Elon Musk advised we should not take on IT for election, as it is easy to hack in developed world, not to talk of Nigeria with bad network. What we need is sincerity from voters, umpires, and leaders. R.O. Ekundayo. Well, let me take your remark very quickly before we go on a very short time out. People are actually giving, ideas, especially what Richford said here, talking about, collaborating with Elon Musk and the likes because of a network provider. Or does, what do you have to say about that? Does that look feasible at this point in time, especially talking about the solar, again, that is talking about, do you think our politicians are ready to make provision for all this ahead of the 2027 election?
All these are spontaneous issues. We are lethargic immediately after an election. We don't do anything, we complain, and it's buried like that until the next elections are approaching.
Yeah.
We already knew the problems and the solutions to all these issues we are discussing. But nobody said anything until a few months to another cycle of election we're talking about. Elon Musk can deploy the most sophisticated IT devices. On what foundation is it going to lay? And those are the infrastructural issues I was talking about. Electricity power, network connectivity, then the human factor. We are zero, close to zero.
Your one-step dial.
My fellow country people, I hope say you don't hear about health insurance policy. We Kwara government they talk about today. The information are confirm and the thing good for you and me as a person and as family. This health insurance, it there for everybody. For papa and mama, this health insurance also there for people who get HIV/AIDS, tuberculosis, even picking under 5 years, plus including pregnant women. Me and my family don't register with just small money. My friend, you fit go any hospital where they do health insurance, whether na public or private hospital. Pay small money and register sharply. With that money where you pay for your family, it go cover you for 1 year. Now so the thing bill. If you love yourself and this beautiful woman and pikin, go register and get your health insurance coverage so that you no go pay too much when sickness come. You fit call this number for free. Then no go come out your money jaw 080-010-010 again 01 or go to house 27B Amadu Bello Way, GRA for Ilorin. This message now from Kwara State Health Insurance Agency.
Amusement Park in Ilorin presents the special Valentine's Day edition, happening right here in the city of Ilorin. This is for lovers, the singles, the married. If you're looking for love, this is for you. The event features movies, good music, lovely atmosphere here, dance, and so much more. It's happening live at the Diamond Amusement Park, Flushing New Yidi Road, Irewolede, Ilorin. This event is in different sessions: 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., 1 p.m. to 3 p.m., 3 p.m. to 5 p.m., and 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. daily. 50 slots available per session. Okay, fees 3,000 naira per person, and then if you pay for 4, you get 1 ticket free. Affordable fee for maximum enjoyment. So book your tickets. Call 080-2677-3152. 080-2677-3152. It's the season of love. Come celebrate with your loved ones.
188.7 FM.
36 minutes gone past 9. You're still tuned into the Amid Breakfast Show on Family 88.7 of Ilori. Let me take this message real quick so we'll go in for the next focus of the day. Here says, good morning, presenter and the guest. We need to question the intelligent quotient of the poor masses who are dragging the government on the new election law. Since bandits have been killing innocent Nigerians, no one has come out to protest on the issue of insecurity in Nigeria. The government and the citizens value the lives of the people who have been killed as a result of insecurity. Should we be talking about 2027 election? And he says the election is a done deal. 2027 election is a done deal for the running party. Which of the method is it that Nigerian politicians would not compromise? We Nigerians are not ready for our votes to be counted. Are they even being counted? He says, Engineer Abdi Yasir from Afagara, thank you so much for your message. All right, let's move on to the next focus of the day. Now, the 2025 Corruption Perception Index, that's CPI, by the Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center, CISLAC Transparency International Nigeria, says Nigeria's anti-corruption drive stagnated in 2025, and we have a very poor score. That's talking about 26 out of 100, a very, very poor score, 26 out of 100. And it says that it shows Nigeria dropped 2 places globally, falling from 140th position in 2024 to 142nd out of 180 countries assessed. Again, we moved from 140 down to 142nd out of 180 countries assessed. And CISLAC says the ranking reflects the tackling systemic corruption issue. There's a progress that we've had so far, the tackling systemic corruption. That is how we've been tackling corruption so far in Nigeria. And also, he says, despite the reforms and enforcement actions by government institutions. And there we have it. Now, let's talk about this. Now, we've dropped 2 places, and talking about the score we have, 26 over 100. We're going to take you to classroom, such score, that's not even average. But then, so how would you rate our performance? And again, just as the director had said, that it was encouraging yet insufficient. But then, how would you rate this? Let me take this from you.
It's a very funny talk point when we have to be talking about the position of a country in the corruption ranking. Well, you said this is not classroom. It is not classroom. Well, it's the duty of civil society to look at indices of good governance in countries, and corruption ranks as one of those issues that we have to interrogate.
Yes.
The Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center / Transparency International came out and said Nigerians stagnate. Stagnate. That's it. I first thought it was the work of you media people. But when I read the statement, I saw that they themselves use the word stagnate. But when you say stagnate, it means that you are in one position. But going further down their report, I hear that they said, despite serious institutional challenges, Nigeria recorded notable progress in asset recovery, international compliance, and civic engagement.
Yes.
Then the removal of Nigeria from the FATF grey list is also one of the marginal improvements that we had. So when you say stagnate, does not align. That is not to justify corruption. So it means that if we're on the class template where you say somebody has 26 position today, tomorrow he has 28. His record score at 28 position might be better than the record score when he was 26 yesterday. But you can have 98% and be 3rd or 4th in class. And in other class, you have 60% and be number 1. So, well, we are not gloating over corruption. We can do better. But like we say in all of our national conversations, institutional reforms are needed to tackle all of these people. As we speak, in the classroom, some people are carrying out corrupt practices. In offices, on the roads, everywhere in Nigeria. I don't know whether this comes under the purview of their survey. But you see, everywhere, all facets of the Nigerian society, globally too, there's corruption in one unit or the other.
Yeah.
So, like we say, institutional reforms. When government is ready to fight corruption, Nigerians will see that this government is ready to fight corruptions, and we dovetail into that arrangement.
But again, just as you said earlier, that Nigeria has been removed from the FATF grey list. But then talking about the corruption index now, do you think we'll ever get off that list over time? That if Tinubu's administration is able to, take effect to its manifestos and talking about, taking care of corruption in Nigeria, do you think we'll ever get off that list?
No, they said we have been removed from the grey list. That's what it tells us.
Yeah, so being taken off the
grey list.
Yes.
So that's a marginal improvement, they said, but it's not sufficient.
Not sufficient.
At least we have moved forward. So my take is that I don't think this statement of that we have improved on assets are out to go for plea bargaining, why people who steal 2,000 naira are out to go for plea bargaining, why people who steal 2,000 naira are jailed for 10, 20 years. The imbalance.
Yes.
Now when you see the logo of judiciary, talks about you have that scale. I think that scale should be equal.
But right now it is not equal.
It is not equal.
Okay.
That's why in rule of law says there should be rule of law. The law that superintends over the poor should be the same law that superintends over the elite. So somebody steals 80 billion in government, you still give him assignments, you give him positions, you give him responsibilities within the system. Then the person who probably steals Gary in the market that he wants to use to survive is now maligned and made to suffer jail terms of 6, 10, 12 years. It doesn't work that way. It shouldn't work that way.
All right, let's take a reaction from our listeners for want of time so we can be able to, take the last focus for today, talking about the tractors that's not been distributed yet. 09136556952 is the number to call. 09136556952. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, you're welcome back, sir. You're welcome. You're welcome, sir.
It's like corruption has become our culture. Unless we're the ourselves. In Nigeria, president, vice, governors, and deputies, they have immunity right now. How many governors have stepped up? How many have been tied? Which one of them is increasing now? That's the question. But not only that, an average Nigerian, one can be corrupt by clapping for those who are corrupt. If I have a neighbor now whom I know the source of income, suddenly come back and start building mansions and buy exotic cars. If I ask him, how did you get your money? He will tell me, I envy. I remember as a kid, my great-grandmother who I was living with, one of her nephews was suspected to be a burglar. My great-grandmother confronted him. Don't call Taji again. Don't Taji. If he call you to send you on an errand, don't go. But now we are all corrupt. They are clapping corrupt people. Corruption has come out.
Amen. Thank you so much. Thank you for your contribution. 09136556952. Well, I think that's why people say if you see something, say something. But then if you say something in this present world, will you be safe? That's a question there. Hello, good morning. You're welcome.
Madam, this officer back on the line.
You're welcome back, officer.
Just to buttress what the elder said from afar.
All right.
That is the nitty-gritty of it. If one of us now move to the state of Asawisibi or get any appointment, it's true that we say, you remember the so person when he was here, this is what he did. So we ourselves, we are celebrating corruption. So that's why they are not taking and investing our money at will. Yes. So the sensitization has to start from me and you. That public office is for service, is not for enrichment. That's it. We workers that we are working, we are not seeing the gain of working. It is those that went to the office 4 years, 8 years, they will not be celebrating. All this work, where are they getting it for? It's our money.
But officer, do you think they are not aware? They are aware of this.
They are, and these people, the laws that is governing corruption is different from the law that is governing thief here. Because a person will steal a goat, you say go and spend 6 years in the jail. But all these people that are stealing our money, because they are the one that make this EFCC act, so they will not make a law that will be detrimental to them.
All right.
We need overhauling. We the people of Nigeria, we need to rise up to our responsibilities against these people. How many are they? How many are they?
Thank you so much, officer. Thank you for your contribution. He says, good morning, Omonike, Babatunde, and the guests in the house. Nigerians like to put cart before the horse and would like to confuse ourselves with big grammars without putting machinery in place. We have some off-cycle election coming up in some states. Let us Let us do try and error in those states and see how it will work. And not until we get to the 2027 election proper and begin to fumble and begin from the square one. Our leaders pretend to love us once in a while. God help Nigeria. Femi David from Ilorin. Thank you so much. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. You're welcome, Mr. Solomon. Let's have your take.
Yes, ma'am. Tell me, when we are talking about corruption, corruption is something that nobody understands. Somebody worked in 35 years all in life to do federal government work or state work. By the time you want to collect small gratuity will be 1.6 million naira. 1 million maybe buy a plot enough for that person to start his life. That's number one.
Okay.
Corruption for Nigeria today is another thing for life today. Okay, when we are talking about all these our big men, that they are politicians, if we want to audit them, the audit itself is a corruption somebody. We can't get them to arrest because the auditors, they are already corrupt too. So it's God that my prayer that God of Nigeria should call for Nigeria.
Amen.
That will clean Nigeria away from Nigeria.
All right.
That's my prayer, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Solomon, for your contribution. But then corruption is known, actually, and we should not give excuse for corruption, especially when it comes to, okay, you're not getting a certain amount for gratuity. That does not give an excuse to you probably embezzling or taking what's not yours. Hello, good morning. Good morning, you're welcome.
Wisdom. Good morning, sir.
You're welcome.
In fact, corruption is the main mother that causes what we are facing in the nation now, which our leaders are not ready to treat. It's supposed to be treated because it's a big mother of what we are facing.
All right.
Poverty, insurgency, corruption is
No. Prophetess, are you there? Oh, do well to call us back. He says, good morning in the studio. I pray to God to bless the analyst. He has said it all. However, lack of trust and insincerity is the main cause of agitation. Political agents are not trusted. Likewise, those in power. We all know what happened to JAB result last year. If their server can be compromised, anything can happen. We all know that what is happening when we transfer monies. If the bank that is located within the town cannot be affected, election results can also suffer the same. Iyoda Hayekoto from Ganiki, and he says on the take of the guest, I'm sorry that there's no matter how much the process is being monitored or teleguided by stakeholders or electorate, political power play will still overtake and override the process to manipulate the result. Technology is the real way out. But then I have a question when we say technology is the real way out. But then are you sure you can actually trust, the technology? Again, we have hackers, remember? Now, that's a question to you. Going back to his message, he says they know this, and that's why politicians are scared of real-time result transmission. Infrastructures are not an issue when there's a political will. Remember to Raya technology that has network even over the water. That's Richford. Richford is still on these, technology. Okay, thank you so much, Richford. And he says, once the mandatory electoral transmission of election results from the polling booth is enacted into law, power supply and internet service will improve in rural areas within a short period. Our politicians are election magician Kolade Ayinde. All right, thank you so much. He says the issue of corruption in Nigeria is all-round thing. Corruption is any wrongdoing. How many Nigerians do everything right? If we're talking about illegal acquisition of wealth or money, we have different classes. We focus more on politicians, which to me is a wrong perception. If you go to MDAs, you will understand what I'm saying. Corruption and other vices in Nigeria, like cats with many lives. Is there any Nigerian that is not corrupt? Elder Yemi Asaju? That's a question for all of us. I still have several questions. Here's several messages here. Says, good morning, House. All politicians are riggers. It's only those that it does not favor that will be complaining. Isa Mohammed. All right. That's an assumption there. But here it says, okay. Here says, good morning to the anchor and guest. On the issue of real-time electronic transmission of results, political, ethnic, and religious biases are behind all this argument. In many parts of Nigeria, network coverage is still a big problem, and other modern facilities like electricity and equipment are grossly inadequate in many parts of our rural areas. This makes compulsory real-time electronic transmission of results challenging. I support the position of the guest and that of the National Assembly's decision to combine electronic and manual transmission method. Even in Ghana, manual transmission was used in areas with network issues. Our hybrid approach ensures that results can be transmitted accurately and efficiently across the country. Ibrahim from Amoyo. Thank you so much, Ibrahim from Amoyo. All right, very briefly, let's go to the last focus of today, talking about, in 2025, June 23 to be precise, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu commissioned 2,000 tractors alongside other accompanying implement for nationwide deployment under the renewed Hope Agricultural Mechanization Program. But then members of the Joint Senate and House of Representative Committees on Agricultural Production during the budget session, well, that's talking about when a member of the House of Representatives from Rivers State, Awaji Inombek, raised concern over non-distribution of these tractors month after their official launch by the president. And, eventually, while this was being questioned to that's Aliyu Sabi Abdullahi, that's the Minister of State for Agriculture and Food Security, eventually gave his reason. And he said the delay was deliberate and it was aimed at preventing failure that undermines previous tractor distribution program. Well, let me cut it right there. But then let me, Mr. Begunde, very briefly, because of want of time, our time is fast spent now. Do you think his response is, right, or do we say it's evasive and at the same time or explanatory enough, talking about the fact that there are processes that needs to be put in place, they need to have some certain persons in place to also repair, that's talking about the tractors and several others that he has given. For want of time, I might not be able to read it all, but then what will be your take regarding all this in a few minutes?
Well, at the risk of saying that the minister does not know what he's saying, his explanation is basically public service explanation. And I should blame the National Assembly who have shirked their oversight responsibilities. When you warehouse 2,000 cars, I'm not talking about tractors, they must be visible wherever they are. Instead of calling this man to come and be asking questions on policy on the floor of the National Assembly, let him take them to where those tractors are to first understand and be clear that those tractors are available. Then you can now come back in-house and be asking why they have not been deployed. The man has given explanation that they don't want a repeat of what happened in the past. What was he talking about? That they went into the wrong hands and then people had to pay more. But the new route that he says they are taking is the fact that if we set up in agricultural mechanization centers will be set up in 6 geopolitical zones, somebody there will be bidding process, and the person who wins the bid is the one who will now lease out the tractors to end users. You are still capitalizing the whole system. So if you are moving away from an old system and you are moving to a system and you are repeating the same process, going through different routes, then it doesn't make sense. And we're talking about 8 months after. If the reason for those tractors, renewed hope agenda of the government, is to make sure that food is available, agricultural inputs are provided so that there can be a boost in agricultural production, then this minister has clearly failed. Because this time last year, the cry of escalating price of foods was what was in the mouths of every Nigerian.
Yes.
Thank God, by some kind of miracle, food prices have gone down. Deliberately through the economic policies of government or by celestial intervention, we have food prices crashing. But if that was what we relied on, those 2,000 tractors to support agriculture was what we relied on to feed Nigerians, then we will have had a failure.
All right, let's take one reaction from our listener. One reaction, and then we'll take a step out of the show today. We'll take a bow out. 09136556952. Please be very precise. Hello, good morning.
God bless you, Godwin, from that journey.
You're welcome, Mr. Godwin.
I think it's visible material. We are not invisible material. So let us put the truth. That they are not invisible.
All right.
Let us know where we are heading to this nation.
Thank you so much, Mr. Godwin. Thank you so much. One more call, 09136556952. We'll take a step out, 09136556952. Well, while we take a bow out for today, okay, let's take this. Hello, good morning.
Hello, welcome.
Good morning.
Thank you so much on all the topic today.
All right, straight to the...
The corruption is not only politicians. Everybody must.
All right, everybody must not be corrupt. I'm sure that's what he wants to get. Everyone takes caution. All right, if I'm going to take your remarks regarding everything we've said today, sir, what would be your remark for today to Nigerians?
Well, eternal vigilance, I said, not just in the electoral process, in every facet of our national life.
All right.
See, it's people gets the kind of government. They deserve the kind of government they get.
Yes.
Because of the fact that we are not eternally vigilant.
All right.
It is our duty as citizens to get accountability from our leaders.
All right.
When we are lethargic,
all right,
we're quiet, we sit back, we are laid back, we do nothing, we continue to be taken for rided. Right, we could take it for a ride.
Yeah.
Whether in electoral issues, whether on academic issues, whether on governance or political issues, all around sectors of our national fabric.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming on, Mr. Babatunde. Thank you for joining me. Just as it said, I picked a sentence that says, let sentiment not be cloud a sense of reasoning. And that is what we should depart with this morning, as much as we want to criticize the government. All right. I remain Omonike Babatunde, and my colleague will be here tomorrow to do justice. And Eba Adasi comes up shortly. To have a wonderful day.
The sounds, the vibes, good talking, conversations. You can have it.